hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys a discussion for Boruto Chapter 44. So obviously this is the time of the month where we are going to be talking about spoilers. So if you're an anime only viewer, I thank you for your support. Over 80% of the content on the channel is going to be spoiler free. There's over 500 videos on the channel, so I'm sure there's something you probably have not seen. But with that being said, if you're still here, I'm going to assume that you're okay with me talking about spoilers. So I think that we need to really discuss whether or not Amado is in possession of a way to defeat Kashin Koji, because let's be real for a second. From the moment that Kashin Koji has been introduced to us, he's basically been a lone wolf. He's been doing his own thing. He killed one of the members of Kara immediately after the meeting was finished with Jigen. He killed the dude like it was nothing. He's been acting essentially as a double agent. We don't know if he's working for the Land of Fire, whether or not he's working for Konoha, but he stated that he has ties to the Land of Fire and that Destiny's bringing him back towards it. We see how Delta doesn't trust him. Jigen damn sure doesn't trust him. If anything, Jigen is expecting Kashin Koji to attempt to kill him in this moment where Jigen is essentially recovering. When Kashin Koji saw Jigen show up, he immediately got rid of that toad summoning and he shit bricks for a second. And so when it comes to Amado, the one thing that we've seen out of this guy's character in this last chapter is that before anything else, this guy's a survivor. Kashin Koji gave him the best chance at survival, so he got out of there. Clearly, he's at odds with Jigen. When you go back to Jigen explaining how he's gonna grant all the wishes of the people of Kara, and he talks about how he's gonna make a Shinju tree, so basically another god tree. The way that Amado was drawn and all that, at the time, I thought maybe it was because, you know, Delta was his daughter. Maybe Jigen gave him some well wishes or some false promises. But now looking in hindsight, that was actually foreshadowing for the fact that Amado was about to double cross this guy, that he didn't buy everything that Jigen was selling. And so when you get a guy like that who doesn't hesitate to slap a bomb around the neck of a 13-year-old child, when you get somebody like this, there's no line that he won't cross. And if he's working with you, he's going to have a contingency plan to bring you down. He's almost like the Batman of Kara. It's actually pretty freaking accurate when you think about it. Yeah, he doesn't have the ability to fight and everything like you would get with Batman, but you know, Batman's in there with the Justice League and all these superpowered people. Batman has no powers, and yet he came up with a plan to take down all of them, from Superman to Wonder Woman to Flash. And when you look at Amado, he's used all this information he's gathered on everybody. He's like, okay, Delta, if her eye beams hit me, Delta can kill me. Okay, Delta, go to sleep. Delta deactivates. Kashin Koji out here killing people. He has Kashin Koji wondering like, hey, does he have something like that set up for me? He probably does. When it comes to Shikadai, he immediately comes up with a way to counter the shadow paralysis jutsu. He already knows how Naruto and Shikamaru's minds work, and he came up with a way to negotiate with them. So this is somebody that's thought things out, and I think that the best way to bring down Kashin Koji is maybe he has something set up like that with Kashin Koji. We know from what Kawaki said that all the members of Kara have been essentially had their bodies modified to a certain extent by the scientist Amado. That was something that was stated when they were fighting against Boro. And so we don't know whether or not Amado has done something like that where it's a fail-safe with Kashin Koji, but I would think something like that exists. And given the fact that Koji has shown he has no problem killing people who get in the way of himself and his own ambitions, it's one of those things where if Amado ever feels like he is essentially wasted, where Kashin Koji no longer has use for him, that Kashin Koji thinks he's expendable, Amado might have a way to take this guy down. And because we don't know Koji's true intentions, whether or not he's fully working for Konoha or whether or not Konoha's a means to an end, whether or not it's something like that, okay, whether or not he's actually acting in his own self-interest and it's something that gets revealed later on, we learn more about Kashin Koji, this gives Amado a chance to give intel to Konoha just on the off chance that Kashin Koji is basically that person who, after Jigen is taken down, Koji has his own plans. He's a threat that needs to be taken care of. This gives Konoha a way to defeat this guy. Now, I think that when you look at the failsafe, I think that's a little too convenient, and the way that Kodachi likes to write and the way that a lot of this has been set up, if it's the obvious answer, sometimes I feel like if it's the obvious answer, that's the one that you go for. But when you get a situation where Koji is already thinking like, does he have something like this in order to kill me? I think that it is something like that where maybe on the off chance, Amado has another way to mobilize Kashin Koji. But whatever it is, I think that it's interesting that essentially if his body's been modified by biomechanical engineering, if his body's been modified via biomechanical engineering and he has that core inside of him, much in the same way that Boro did, if it's something like that, the idea that that could be the weakness of him, that his own core, that the scientific ninja tools that have enhanced his body is actually a way for someone to take him down, I think that that's a nice trade-off for power. I think that gives a great sense to the system. Okay, like I know a lot of people complain about the power scaling in Boruto and it's not perfect, but I think something like this makes the playing field more even, where you have people who might not be very powerful in their own right all of a sudden get access to this power like this, but now there's something that can strip away that power. So I think in the end it all kind of balances out. But I want to know from you guys, how do you feel about Amado actually having a potential way to nerf Kashin Koji or essentially take him out of the whole scenario altogether? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.